It's not what you face, it's not what you overcome. It is what you run from, what you're hiding from, what you pretend isn't there while it's eating you alive from the inside out. And I know you know what I'm talking about, because there is something right now, right this second, that you're avoiding. I know it. The thing that you won't face, it doesn't just go away. Okay? It doesn't dissolve into thin air because you're ignoring it. Putting your head in the sand doesn't make it disappear. It's still there. The more we avoid it, the more control over every decision you make it has. Every relationship you're in and every opportunity that you walk away from is all controlled by your avoidance. And here's what really gets me. Okay, this one's going to kind of hit you a little bit too. We live in a culture that celebrates avoidance. We celebrate avoiding our problems. We call it self-care to avoid difficult decisions. We call it moving on to avoid processing the pain. We call it staying positive to avoid the hard truths. We've been sold this toxic positivity garbage that says if you just vibe high enough and manifest good enough energy, everything is gonna work out. It'll all be good, man. Bullshit. What is up, survivors, warriors, my people? I love you. Welcome back to Passion from Pain. And I am fired up for today's episode because we're diving into something that's been holding you hostage and you don't even know it. Today, we're talking about a truth that's going to sting a little bit. Actually, scratch that. It's going to sting a lot. But if you're here, you're ready for it. You didn't come this far to keep playing small. You didn't walk through the fire to sit in the flames. No. You're here because we're ready to get past all the bullshit and move on with our lives. All right. And today we're talking about avoidance, right? And the truth bomb, what you avoid controls you. Let that sink in. What you avoid controls you. It's controlling you. Every part of you from the shadows, and you don't even know it. It's not what you face. It's not what you overcome. It is what you run from, what you're hiding from, what you pretend isn't there while it's eating you alive from the inside out. And I know you know what I'm talking about, because there is something right now, right this second, that you're avoiding. I know it. Maybe it's a conversation you need to have. All right. Maybe it's a truth about yourself you don't want to look at. Maybe it's a memory, a feeling, a person, a pattern. Whatever it is, it's got real estate in your head. It's living rent free. And it's running your life from the shadows. And here's the brutal truth about it. Every single thing you avoid becomes your puppet master. Okay? And you're the puppet, dancing to the rhythm of your own fears, your own shame, and your own unresolved pain. But not anymore, not after today. Not after today. So let me paint you a picture of what avoidance actually looks like, because it can be sneaky as hell, right? It can sneak up right on us and we don't even realize it. But that's why we listen to the podcast. That's why we listen to Amy. Amy tells us about this shit, right? You avoid the hard conversation with your partner. So instead, you pick fights about the dishes, right? You avoid dealing with your childhood trauma, so you self-sabotage every good thing that comes your way. You avoid looking at your bank account. I've been guilty of this one. So you stay broke and stressed. You avoid setting boundaries, so you stay exhausted and resentful. You avoid your anger, so it leaks out as passive aggressive comments and chronic anxiety. I have been guilty of every single one of those. Every single one of those popped its head up in my life at some point until I realized that it was exactly the avoidance in my life, the things I didn't want to look at and deal with, the things that I was swallowing, pushing down, is what was controlling me and controlling just about every aspect of my life, controlling the situations, controlling my relationships, controlling the outcomes. And it was all subconscious patterns. And you see how that works? The thing that you won't face, it doesn't just go away. Okay? It doesn't dissolve into thin air because you're ignoring it. Putting your head in the sand doesn't make it disappear. It's still there. That game I used to play with my kids, and I don't know if you played this with your real little kids, if you can't see me, I can't, or if I can't see you, you can't see me, oh no, I can't see you, you're gone, you're disappeared, or peekaboo, right? We try to play peekaboo with the bullshit in our lives, but the reality is it's still there. When we move our hands, it doesn't go away, right? It is still there. But the problem is, the more we avoid it, the bigger it gets. The more we avoid it, the more control over every decision you make it has. Every relationship you're in and every opportunity that you walk away from is all controlled by your avoidance. And here's what really gets me, okay? And this one's going to kind of hit you a little bit too. We live in a culture that celebrates avoidance. We celebrate avoiding our problems. We call it self-care to avoid difficult decisions. We call it moving on to avoid processing the pain. We call it staying positive to avoid the hard truths. We've been sold this toxic positivity garbage that says if you just vibe high enough and manifest good enough energy, everything is going to work out. It'll all be good, man. Bullshit. Bullshit. Quit believing that shit. You can't heal what you won't feel. You can't change what you won't confront. And you sure as hell can't be free while you're running from yourself. I've lived this. I've been in this prison. I've been this person who avoided everything, feelings, truths, confrontations, responsibilities, all of it. And you know what it got me? A life that looked okay on the outside to people that didn't give a shit about me. But I was dying on the inside, and my personal life was falling apart. Okay? I had a life where I was controlled by the very things that I refused to acknowledge, confront, and deal with. So today we're ripping that Band-Aid off. We're going to look at why we avoid what it costs us because it's a heavy price. And most importantly, how to stop giving our power away to the freaking shadows. Because freedom isn't found in avoidance. It's found in the willingness to walk straight into that fire. That's where the freedom is found. But before we get into the how, we have to understand the why. We have to understand why we do this in order to fix it. Okay? You can't fix something that you don't understand. So we're going to dive into the science, the psychology of avoidance. So let's start at understanding why we avoid in the first place, because it's not because you're weak or broken. Let's get that out there. Okay. That's not the reason. Okay. It's not, well, why don't you do this? I'm too weak. I'm not strong enough. That ain't it. It's actually because your brain is doing exactly what it was designed to do. You see, it's not because you're broken. It's not because you're not working. It's not because you're weak. It's because you're doing exactly what you are designed to do. So you're working perfectly. Let's get that clear. All right. Your brain has one primary job: keep you alive. That's it. Not happy, not fulfilled, alive. And anything that feels threatening, even if it's just emotionally threatening, triggers that survival system. That is your amygdala at work. I talk about the amygdala all the time. My amygdala and I have become best friends over the years. We have gotten to know each other very, very well. I had to get to where I'm at now, to get past the bullshit. Okay? So your amygdala, the almond shaped part of your brain. I don't know, is that an almond? There we go. An almond shape part of your brain is your alarm system. And it cannot tell the difference between a physical threat and an emotional threat. When you think about having a hard conversation, your amygdala fires up like you're being chased by a big old gnarling, drooling bear. He's hungry. And your amygdala's going, oh shit, we're about to die. When you think about facing your trauma, same response. Lion, bear, trauma, shit, we're dying. Your brain doesn't care. It just wants to run. It just wants to run away. And so according to the research of avoidance from the American Psychological Association, avoidance is one of the primary response systems of PTSD and anxiety disorders. But here's what they found that is critical. Short-term avoidance provides immediate relief, which creates a powerful reinforcement loop. You avoid the scary thing, you feel better instantly. Your brain says, that's it. That's the solution. Avoid more. But, and this is the screwed up part. The same research shows that avoidance is the number one indicator of chronic psychological distress. The more you avoid, the worse it gets. Period. End of sentence. Nothing more. Okay. The avoidance cycle. How does it control you? So let's break down exactly how avoidance becomes control, because this is where it gets interesting. Step one, the trigger. Something uncomfortable comes up, a memory, a feeling, a situation. Your body responds with anxiety, fear, shame, or whatever your go-to uncomfortable emotion of the day is. Step two, the avoidance. Instead of feeling it, facing it, processing it, you avoid it. You distract, you numb, you busy yourself with something. Okay. You rationalize. You minimize. Whatever flavor of avoidance is your preference. Right? Pick your poison. Step three, relief. You feel better instantly. The discomfort goes away, the nervous system calms down, and the brain logs this as avoidance equals safety. Step four, the reinforcement. Because it worked, you do it again and again and again and again and again and again. And each time the neural pathway gets stronger. You're rewiring your nervous system, your neural pathways to avoid. You're doing that. You're rewiring yourself to do this. Okay? But you don't know you're doing it. But you do now. We do now, right? This is why education is powerful. Why knowledge will set you free. Okay? The pattern then becomes more automatic. The thing you're avoiding gets bigger and scarier in your mind. What was just a small problem in your mind is now a huge, scary monster. Sharp teeth, drooling, claws, everything. And before, maybe it was just a mouse. You're terrified of a mouse, right? And now you got this big monster of a problem in your mind, right? So step five, the prison. Now you've built your entire life around not triggering that thing. You don't go to certain places. You don't have certain conversations. You don't pursue certain dreams. you don't feel certain feelings. Your life gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And that thing you're avoiding, well, it's making every decision for you. If you think about that, most psychological suffering comes from avoiding our own internal experiences. Okay. And so, what we actually avoid. So, let's get specific because avoidance sounds pretty abstract and until you see it in your own life. Okay. So some things that we avoid. We avoid feelings, grief, anger, shame, loneliness, sadness. We avoid them because we've been taught that feeling them makes us weak. Okay. Or we're afraid if we start feeling them, we'll never stop. Okay. We've been punished for having them in the past, maybe. Right. And so we don't want to have these feelings, so we avoid these feelings, or we just don't like to have these feelings. We don't want to deal with it. We avoid truths. Is one of the reasons I created this podcast, was to put the truths out there and to get people to confront the truths about themselves, because the truth, as cliche as it sounds, is what is going to set you free. Okay, but we avoid the truths about ourselves, about our relationships, about our past and our patterns. We avoid the truth that maybe we're repeating our traumas from the past, that maybe we were, or sometimes can be the toxic ones in situations, that maybe we've wasted years in the wrong relationship or career. These truths, they do feel too big, too painful, too expensive to acknowledge, so we avoid it. Okay? We avoid responsibility. We avoid the responsibility of our healing. We want to put that on other people. It's everyone else's fault, everyone else's problem. Right? We put it on doctors, psychologists, and therapists, and they can only take us so far. Right? So we avoid it. We avoid the responsibility that it is our responsibility to heal. We avoid the responsibility of our own choices, the responsibility for our own lives. It's easier to stay the victim. Okay. It's easier to blame others. Take responsibility, and it means accepting that we have to do something about it. And that's terrifying. It really is, especially when you got all this crap going on in your head, right? You've got all that negative self talk going on. Now we're talking about responsibility and accountability. And that means looking at the things that are triggering sometimes. I get it. I get it. We avoid change. Okay. Even when we're miserable, the known is safer than the unknown. We avoid leaving the toxic relationship because at least we know what to expect. We avoid starting the business because we might fail. We avoid healing because who are we without our pain? I don't know. I was that. I was that. I feared the change for sure. I don't know more. I don't know more. We avoid our power. And this is the big one. We avoid recognizing how powerful we actually are, because the power with the power comes responsibility. Right? If we're powerful enough to change our own lives, then we're responsible for doing it, and that is the scariest thing of all. Yeah. So what is all this avoidance? What is it actually costing you? Let's get real about the price tag, okay? It costs you your mental health. Every study on anxiety and depression shows that avoidance just makes it worse. The more you avoid, the more anxious and depressed you become. Okay, it's not a mystery. It is simple cause and effect. It costs you relationships, When you avoid the difficult conversations, you create distance. When you avoid your own feelings, you can't connect authentically. And when you avoid conflict, you build resentment. Avoidance kills intimacy. Okay? It's costing you your relationships. That's a heavy price tag. It costs you your dreams. How many opportunities have you walked away from because you were avoiding the discomfort of trying? How many dreams have died because you avoided the risk of failure? I got a long list of stuff I've always wanted to do. And some of them I've done, yeah. But there's so much more. I got to get over my fears and just go for it. Podcasting, that was one of them. Here I am. I'm doing it. I'm out here with you guys. I'm doing it. I'm facing my fears. I'm facing the thing I was avoiding. Here I am. I've decided to not let avoiding things cost me another dream. And here I am trying to pursue one of mine. Will I get there? I don't know, but it's sure as hell going to be fun trying the journey. That's a whole other, it's a whole other podcast is on the journey. But I've decided that avoidance is not going to cost me another dream. It's not. All right. Avoidance can also cost you your authenticity. When you're consistently avoiding parts of yourself, you cannot be whole. You can't be real. You are just carefully curated. You're just a carefully curated version of yourself that's acceptable, palatable, safe, right? And it costs you your freedom. And that's the bottom line. When avoidance is running your life, you are not free. You are not choosing. You're reacting. You're being controlled by whatever you're running from. And according to research published in the Journal of Clinical Psychology, chronic avoidance is associated with a lower quality of life, decreased life satisfaction, and higher rates of both physical and mental health problems. This isn't just in your head. This is measurable and documented in reality. Okay? Let's get away from the science and psychology for a minute, because that tends to get a bit dry sometimes, right? Let's get into the spiritual and philosophical truth of avoidance. Okay? What you resist persists. So Carl Jung, what you resist persists, was one of his famous quotes. And yes, he's a psychologist. Okay? Yes, psychology, I get it. But it's not just psychology. And if you ever studied Carl Jung, you understand that. All right? He kind of walks that spiritual line. Okay? What you resist persists. Essentially, is spiritual law. Okay? This is how energy just works. Okay? When you resist something, you're actually feeding it your energy. You're giving it your attention. What? I'm just shoving that thing in the closet. No, you're giving it attention. Okay? You're making it significant. You're making it big enough to push away. The very act of pushing something away requires you to maintain constant contact with it. Think about that. Think about that. To avoid something, you have to always be aware of it. You have to organize your life around it. You have to think about it constantly to make sure you're successfully not dealing with it. That's not freedom. Okay? That's obsession. That's a cage. That's prison. In Buddhism, they teach that suffering comes from attachment and aversion. The things we cling to and the things we push away. Both are forms of resistance to what is, and both create suffering. The path to freedom isn't in controlling what comes up. It's in being willing to experience what comes up without needing to change it, fix it, or run from it. Okay? Experience it without needing to change it, fix it, or run from it. Carl Jung also gave us the concept of the shadow, what lives in the dark. And it's the parts of ourselves we rejected, denied, or we've hidden. Everything you avoid becomes part of your shadow. And here's what's wild, okay? The shadow doesn't go away just because you're not looking at it, right? I can't see you. You can't see me, right? No. It runs your life from the unconscious. Your shadow is why you keep attracting the same toxic relationships. It's why you sabotage yourself right when things are going well. It's why you react disproportionately to certain triggers. Your shadow is every avoided truth, every denied feeling, every rejected part of yourself operating in the dark. And the only way to reclaim your power from the shadow is to turn on the light. To look at what you've been avoiding, to integrate what you've rejected. Turn on the light. This is shadow work. And I'm going to tell you it's not pretty. It's not comfortable. But it's the only way to become free. It's the only way to become whole. And the Stoics understood this. Marcus Aurelius wrote that, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Let's say that again. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. But here's what we miss. You only have power over your mind if you're willing to face your mind. If you're avoiding your thoughts, your feelings, your truth, you don't have power. You're being controlled by what you won't acknowledge. Courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is being afraid and doing it anyway. But we can take that further. Courage is being terrified of what you'll find inside yourself and looking anyway. Being terrified of what you'll find inside yourself and looking anyway. Courage is being afraid of the truth and speaking it anyway. Courage is feeling the pain and staying with it anyway. When was the last time you told the full truth of your heart to yourself, let alone anyone else? Okay. But here's where I need to call some people out, including myself at different points in my life, okay? We use spirituality to avoid as well, okay? I don't want you to get caught in this trap. We use meditation to avoid feeling. We use high vibrations to avoid dealing with our shadow. We use everything happens for a reason to avoid taking responsibility. We use I'm manifesting to avoid doing the work. If I write, I want $1 million down enough times in my journal, then one day Amazon's going to drop it in my lap. It's going to show up on my doorstep, right? That's a trap. Don't fall for that trap. Don't fall for that shit. Okay. Psychologist John Wellwood coined the term spiritual bypassing, which is using spiritual practices and beliefs to sidestep psychological wounds and unresolved emotional issues. Okay. Yes, we need spirituality in our lives. Yes, we need spirituality as part of our healing process. But we cannot use it as an excuse to not deal with or to avoid the very things that we need to confront. Real spirituality doesn't let you skip the human experience. Okay? Real spirituality asks you to be fully human, to feel all of it, to face all of it, integrate all of it. The transcendence comes through the experience, not around it. You can't meditate your way out of unprocessed trauma. You can't manifest your way out of unhealed wounds. You can't positive think your way out of avoidance patterns. Doesn't work. The spiritual path requires you to face what you've been avoiding. All the mystics, all the masters, all the wisdom traditions say the same thing. The way out is through. The way up is down. The resurrection requires the crucifixion. There is no shortcut. There's no bypass. There's only the willingness to face what is. And here's the paradox that will change your life. You become free from something not by avoiding it, but by accepting it. Okay? Acceptance doesn't mean resignation. It doesn't mean you like it or approve of it. Mm-mm. Acceptance doesn't mean you stop fighting reality. You stop arguing with what is. You stop demanding that your past be different. You that your feelings be different, that your situation be different. You face it fully, completely, without defense. And in that moment of full acceptance, something shifts inside of you. The thing that had power over you loses its grip on you. Why? Because you're no longer giving it power by avoiding it. You're no longer feeding it with your resistance. Rumi wrote, the wound is the place where the light enters you. But you have to be willing to look at the wound. You have to stop covering it, denying it, avoiding it. The light only enters when you stop blocking it with your avoidance. Okay. Enough philosophy, enough science, enough psychology. Let's get tactical. How do we actually stop avoiding? Amy, you've convinced me, all right? I got to do this, but what the hell do I do? I don't know where to start. Okay. How do I actually stop avoiding and start facing what I've been running from? Number one, you got to name what you're avoiding. You got to put a name on it. You got to call it something. Okay. You can't face what you won't acknowledge, and get brutally honest with yourself here. What are you avoiding? Make a list, write it down, be specific. What conversation have you been avoiding? What feeling or feelings, there might be more than one, have you been numbing? What truth have you been denying? What decision have you been postponing? And what pattern have you been pretending isn't there? This is just a start. Okay? This is just a start. Don't be afraid to go deep here and ask these questions. This step alone is going to make you uncomfortable, but good. Let it. That discomfort is information. Okay? That is your body, your subconscious, your mind, your soul, everything, your nervous system saying, warning, warning. We've been avoiding this. We've been trying to tell you this, but you haven't been listening. Okay? Your body's literally going, can you hear me now? Right? That's the stuff that you want to write. Okay? Number two, understand your avoidance strategy. You got to make a strategy. Okay? How do you avoid? Because we all have our own methods, right? Some people avoid through distraction, work, Netflix, social media, staying busy, doing the things. Okay? Some avoid through substances, alcohol, drugs, food, shopping, sex, pornography, you name it. Some avoid through denial. I'm fine. Everything's fine. It's all good. We're cool. Okay. We avoid through intellectualization, analyzing everything but feeling nothing. reading all the books, doing nothing about it, feeling nothing about it. Okay? You can name all of your triggers, and you can name all of the attachment styles that you have with clinical precision, but you haven't done a damn thing about it. Okay? And then some people avoid through people pleasing, focusing on everyone else's need to avoid their own. So what's your go-to? Be honest, no judgment, just awareness. And I want you to put it in the comments. Okay? Other people need to know so they don't feel alone. Like, holy shit, you know what? I numb through staying busy. I avoid through reading Jim Rohn books at 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't know. Whatever it is that you do, put it out there. And you'll find that other people are doing the same thing. This is how they avoid the real things. And then you put it down that I'm not going to do this anymore, and I'm going to face the things that I've been avoiding. Okay? And know that there's no judgment. This is all just for awareness. Don't judge yourself on this. All right, now step 3. Now we've got to do something, right? And we're going to start small. You don't have to face your biggest demon first, all right? In fact, you shouldn't. That's a setup for failure and more avoidance, right? It's like when you're playing a video game and you skip all of the small level bad guys and you go straight to the big boss at the end of the video game without having once hit one keystroke on the game and understand how the game works, right? Don't do that to yourself. You're going to lose. All right? Start with the smallest thing first and set yourself up for success. Get the small wins. That's how you rewire that system, that nervous system for success. Okay? And that's how you keep yourself motivated, by giving yourself the small wins. Do the small things first. All right? Start with something manageable, something that scares you but won't destroy you. All right? Afraid of conflict? And then start with a small boundary with a safe person. Okay? Avoiding your feelings? Start with naming one emotion per day. All right? Avoiding the truth? Start with one small, honest statement to yourself. Okay? Doesn't have to be big. Build your tolerance for discomfort gradually. Okay? It's like building a muscle. You don't start with the heaviest weight on the rack. You start with the little 2.5 pound dumbbell, right? If you haven't lifted in 50 years. Okay. Step 4, you got to feel it to heal it. You got to feel it to heal it. And this is where most people get stuck. They actually understand what they're avoiding, but they won't actually feel it. Feelings aren't dangerous. They're just energy moving through your body. But when you've been avoiding them for years, they feel massive and overwhelming. And here's the truth, okay? A feeling, when you actually allow yourself to feel it fully, lasts about 90 seconds. That's research from neuroscientist Dr. Jill Bolt Taylor. 90 seconds. That's how long it takes for an emotion to move through your nervous system if you don't resist it. But when you resist, when you avoid, that 90 seconds turns into 2 weeks, months, years of suffering. So here's what you do. You set a timer, feel the feeling, let it move through you, cry if you need to, scream if you need to, shake if you need to. Just don't stop it, don't numb it, and don't run from it. 90 seconds. You can handle 90 seconds of anything. I know you can. I know you can. 5, get support. Some things you cannot face alone, and that is not weakness, that is wisdom. That is strength. If you're dealing with trauma, get a trauma-informed therapist. If you're dealing with addiction, get into a program. If you're dealing with relationship issues, get into couples therapy. If you're dealing with a spiritual crisis, find a guide or mentor. The strongest people I know are the ones who ask for help. The weakest are the ones who pretend they don't need it. The strongest are the ones that ask for help. The weakest are the ones who pretend they don't need it. Ask for the help. There is no shame in asking for help. 6, take action. Understanding is not enough. Awareness is not enough. You have to act. You got to do the things. Have the conversation you've been avoiding. Make the decisions you've been postponing. Set the boundary you've been scared to set. Leave the situation you've been staying in out of fear. Action is the antidote to avoidance. Every time you take action toward what you've been avoiding, you reclaim a piece of your power. Now, let me give you some specific tools that you can use, the resources that you need, okay? This is just some things to try, okay? It may not work for everybody, but it's a list of things to get you started. And that's all it is. It's just a list to get you started. Keep researching. That's the point of this, is to get the ideas to you so that you can continue down your own path, your own research, and find exactly what's going to work for you. Because as I say time and time again, there is not one single pathway that is going to work for everybody. It is so individualized. It's crazy. And this is where a lot of the self-help gurus get everything wrong. My system is what will transform you. Just send me every last penny in your savings account and I will fix your life. Okay? Don't, no. Because they've taken a system and created a list and said, okay, we're going to throw everybody into this bucket, and it doesn't work this way. Everybody's going to walk this path, and it doesn't happen. So don't do that to yourself. Okay, the tools and resources that I have are just that. If they work, great. If they don't, find a new tool. There's more. All right, go to the tool store. There's more. It's full of them. You got to find the right tool for the right job that works for you. Okay, number 1, somatic experiencing. This is a body-based approach to trauma development. Okay, it helps you process what you've been avoiding through body awareness. Okay, so look for a certified SE practitioner. Okay, if you're dealing with trauma, make sure that they are certified somatic experiencing, right? Not just somebody who's taken a class or two and is now, I don't know, doing this weird stuff on TikTok. No, look for a certified SE practitioner. All right. Internal family systems, or IFS. Okay, this helps you understand the different parts of yourself, including the parts that you are avoiding. So look for an IFS trained therapist. Okay, really good at helping you understand the different parts of yourself. All right. EMDR, you're starting to see a lot about this pop up on social media lately. EMDR is eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. This is one of the most effective trauma treatments out there right now. And it helps you process traumatic memories without avoiding them. Okay? And you need to find an EMDR certified therapist. Okay? And when you're looking for these people, make sure they're certified in this stuff. I cannot stress that enough, because so much damage can come from somebody who's just pretending, who's read a book or two and doesn't know. Make sure they are certified. Okay? Go check out Brene Brown's work. Her research on shame and vulnerability is game-changing. Read the book Daring Greatly and the Gifts of Imperfection. She breaks down why we avoid and how to show up anyway. 2 wonderful books I want you to go read. Okay, next one, The Body Keeps the Score by Dr. Bessel van der Kolk. This book will help you understand how trauma and avoidance live in your body, not just your mind. Critical book to read. Radical Acceptance by Tara Brach. This combines Western psychology with Buddhist principles to help you stop avoiding and start accepting. Okay. When the Body Says No by Dr. Gabor Mate. This explores how emotional repression and avoidance manifest as physical illness. Powerful for understanding the cost of not facing your truth. Okay, if you want to know what avoiding, confronting the traumatic experience is going to cost you, read this book. Okay, it's going to open your eyes. It's going to change your life. So some apps I want you to look into: Insight Timer for meditation, Calm for anxiety management. Okay, and these are not solutions, but they're tools to help you build the nervous system capacity to face what you've been avoiding. All right. And here's what I really need you to understand. Facing what you've been avoiding is going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be scary. It might even be temporarily devastating. I get that. I felt that. I know that. I was there. But what's more devastating is spending the rest of your life being controlled by your own avoidance, by the things that you're shoving in the closet, being controlled by the shadows. Spending the rest of your life in a prison of your own making, the keys in your pocket. Okay, spending the rest of your life wondering, what if I had been brave enough? The pain of avoidance is chronic and it never ends. It only gets worse. The pain of facing, it's acute. It's intense, but it's temporary. And on the other side of facing the pain, it's freedom. Okay. And you get to choose what pain you live with. Nobody else. Okay. You get to choose the pain of facing temporarily, intense pain, but freedom down the road of it. Or immediate satisfaction, long-term pain, never dealing with the things, avoiding the scary, constantly being uncomfortable, constantly being controlled, constantly being triggered, constantly falling into the same trauma patterns, the same trauma bonds, the same relationships, the same numbing experiences, the same, more of the same. Nothing freeing, nothing exciting, nothing exhilarating. Just more of the same pain, steadily, slowly taking control of your mind and your body. You deal with it and you free yourself. Those are the two choices that you have, and those are your choices, right? I cannot choose for you. I can't. All I can do is give you the information and pray that you make the right choice for yourself. And then act. And then act. And then stick around on this podcast because I give you the information to keep going. I give you the motivation. I give you the inspiration. I give you the tools. I give you the resources. I never pretend to be a therapist or psychologist. Okay. I'm a gal who experienced this personally, and I give you the map to setting yourself free. Okay. I give you the map to setting yourself free. And that's what this is. All right. But you have to choose, and you have to choose if you're going to take action or not. So let's make this concrete. Let's say you decided you're going to take action. Here's what you're going to do after this episode, right? As soon as we're done. Okay. Step number 1, I want you to do an avoidance inventory, and I want you to grab a journal or grab your phone and just, record your voice or record a video, however you want to do this. And I want you to set aside 30 minutes, and I want you to write down everything that you've been avoiding, everything, the big things, the small things, all of it. Take a complete inventory. Spend some time on this. The more detailed you are, the more information that you put down, the better you are going to do for yourself as you go through this process. Okay. And then I want you to write how long you've been avoiding it. What is it costing you to avoid it? What is the price? sure it's pretty heavy, right? What are you afraid is going to happen when you face it? I want you to answer that. And what might become possible if you stop avoiding it? This inventory alone will shift something in you, I promise you. Okay. You're going to feel it just by doing this. At the end of this 30 minutes, if you don't feel something, you're doing it wrong and you need to go back and start again. Okay. Because you should feel something from it. Action step number 2, pick one thing this month from your inventory list. Pick one thing to face this month. Not all of them. Don't do that to yourself. Don't do that. Don't set yourself up for failure. One. The conversation, the feeling, the decision, the truth. One. Now write it out. What specifically you're going to do? What are you going to do about it? The action. What action are you going to take? When are you going to do it? What support do you need? Where do I need help? Who do I need help from? What tools do I need? What resources do I need? What do I need to make this possible? Okay. Then what you'll do if it goes bad. Okay, I want you to have a plan for if things don't go in the direction that you want it to go. Right? Because we don't know. We're going to plan for the good, we're going to plan for the bad. So if things go bad, what are we going to do about it? Who's going to be there for us? What safety net do I have if I fall? Who's going to catch me? Nobody's there. Make sure you've got that safety net. These are the things that we plan in advance before we go down and doing the shadow work so that we can land safely if we do fall, right? And that we can get back up and go again. Okay. And then what are you going to do if it goes well? Are we going to celebrate? Hell yeah, you better freaking celebrate. And I want you to post it in the community and in the comments. Hey, I confronted this thing that I've been avoiding, and this is the really cool thing that happened from it. Okay? I want to hear about it. I want to celebrate the wins with you because I want to be a part of it. I love to hear what is going on and how you are transforming. Okay? And then I want you to just do the things that you wrote out. Okay? No matter how uncomfortable, no matter how silly you feel, just do it. Just do it. And then action step 3, daily facing practice. You're going to do this every day, every single day. Do something that makes you uncomfortable, small things, right? Build the muscle, okay? Build the neural pathways. That's what we're doing. Say what you really think instead of what people want to hear, okay? Stuff like that. Feel the feeling instead of scrolling, okay? Sit in silence instead of distracting. Ask for what you need instead of hinting at the things you need. Right? Set a boundary instead of people pleasing. Small daily actions of facing build into massive life change. Okay. And action step 4, get professional support if you need it. All right. If what you're avoiding is processing trauma, abuse, addiction, or serious mental health issues, get a professional. This isn't optional, it's necessary. Find a therapist who specializes in what you're dealing with. Invest in your healing. You are worth it. Okay. And if you find one and they're not a right fit for you, that's okay. Keep looking. You'll find them. All right. You just don't give up on yourself. Okay. And then action step 5, join the community now, right now. Okay. You're not doing this alone. Connect with others who are also choosing to face instead of avoid. That's what this community is for. Share what you're facing, ask for support, offer support to others. You will be amazed at how rewarding it is and how much further it takes you along on your process just by offering support to others. You get this gratification inside of you that is unlike any other feeling. That's why I felt the need to do this podcast, because we rise together. We can't rise alone, we rise together. Okay. You guys got this. You do. I believe in you and I have faith in you. And so here we are now at the end of the line for this episode. What you avoid controls you. But here's the flip side of that truth. What you face, you free yourself from. Okay? Every single thing you've been running from is just waiting for you to turn around and look at it. Not because it wants to destroy you, but because it wants to be integrated, acknowledged, released. Okay? It's kind of like the ghost who has unfinished business, right? They finished business and they can finally, move on to the other side, right? It's the same kind of concept. All right. Your power isn't avoiding, your power is in facing it. And I know that you're scared, and I know it feels too big, and I know you've convinced yourself that you can't handle it. But here's what I do know is that you're still here. You're still standing, and you've survived everything you've been through so far. Every single thing that almost broke you, you're still here. That's not luck, that's not chance, that is your strength. Your strength put you there, here, today, right? You have everything you need inside of you to face what you've been avoiding already. You always have. Okay? You've just been waiting for the permission slip. Well, here you go. You've got it. Consider this your permission. Stop running, turn around and face it. Not because it's easy, not because it's comfortable, not because you feel ready, but because your freedom depends on it, because your authentic life is on the other side of your avoidance, because you deserve to be controlled by your choices, not by your fears. The question isn't whether you can do this. The question is, will you do this? Okay. Will you choose temporary discomfort over chronic suffering? Will you choose facing over avoiding? Will you choose freedom over the illusion of safety? I believe you will. I believe you're ready. And I believe a year from now, you're going to look back at this moment as the turning point. You're going to be writing your book and going, holy cow, I listened to Amy's episode on Passion from Pain about avoidance, and that was the moment that I woke up. And you're going to write that in your book. I know you are. I know it. I'm manifesting it. Okay. I believe you will do this. I believe you are ready. The moment you stopped letting what you avoid control you, the moment you took your power back. Before we close, I want you to sit with something. Think about one thing, just one. Okay? That thing that you've been avoiding. That one that came to mind immediately when we started the episode. The one that made your stomach clench. The one that you've been pushing down, pushing away, pretending isn't there. You got that? You got that in your mind? Now I want you to feel what it would be like to be free from it. Not to have it resolved or fixed or perfect, but to have faced it. To have stopped giving it power through your avoidance. To have looked it straight in the eye and said, I see you and I'm not running anymore. I'm going to take you on. I'm taking you out. You're going down, buddy. How would that feel? Right? What would be possible in your life if you weren't spending all that energy avoiding? Who would you be if you weren't being controlled by what you won't face? Let that sit with that. I mean, really feel it. That person, that life, that freedom, it's available to you right now today. All it requires is the willingness to stop avoiding and start facing. All it requires is courage, and courage is something you find. Courage is it's something you choose to have. You choose it. Choose to face it. Choose your freedom. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being willing to hear the hard truths. Okay. Thank you for being on this journey from pain to passion, from avoidance to freedom, from control to power. And remember, you're not alone in this. We're all facing our demons together. That's what this community is all about. That's what Passion from Pain is all about. And if this episode hit you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Leave a review. Let me know what you're facing. I read every single message. And most importantly, do the work. Don't just listen and nod and move on. Actually do the work. Face what you've been avoiding. take your power back. Your future self is waiting for you on the other side of your avoidance. So go get them. Go get them. And until next time, keep fighting, keep facing, keep choosing freedom. This is Passion from Pain, and I love you guys. I will see you all in the next episode. Bye.